Hi, everybody. Welcome to Foundher. It's episode 3. Can you believe it?
It's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, air high five. We're here with Kristine Cruz of Creme Caramel. I'm so excited to talk to her. She and I go back now on this journey of actually creating Foundher, which we'll talk a little bit more about. But first, a little bit, glimpse of what we'll be talking about. Kristine is obviously a founder. She's the owner of Creme Caramel, and she is a self-trained baker. So she owns a dessert shop in LA, and she's been doing this for 3 years now?
At the store, but we've been in business since 2010.
Wow,
so we're
since
getting
2010.
our 6th anniversary at the end of the year.
Woohoo!
I know.
So that's really exciting. Kristine's also been on the Food Network. Last year, she was actually a contestant on the Spring
Baking Championship. We were the first
Pretty
season.
amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. So just a quick update too on Foundher, what's been going on since the last time, because I think it's important for you guys to know how our journey's going. So today we're actually joined by a couple of other production experts. So we have Homer and Winston on the set. So we're waving to them right now. They're waving back. And of course, Rodney is operating this whole system thing there. And this is the first time we're going Facebook Live. We're streaming all of this on Facebook Live today. So we're So we're really hoping that you guys not just tune in, but also post your questions. Just a couple of things too from last time. I think people have been curious about how they can support me and how they can support this effort. And last time we actually had Brian Alano message about my hair and how messy it was. That is the beauty of live stream. Like, you can have a direct impact on what I'm doing. And so Rodney was able to fix this nest, right? So thank you, Brian. And then other folks who have been giving us some feedback. Thank you so much. We're constantly working on how to improve, but also how to meet the need out there, which is to support these aspiring entrepreneurs, women founders, and women entrepreneurs everywhere in the US, mostly. Yeah. So without further ado, I want to introduce Kristine.
Hi.
She is so awesome. So yeah, she is. So let me tell you how we first met. I stalked Kristine in 2013. That rhymes.
Right when we opened the store.
Yeah. So I was at the Atwater Farmers Market, and I came across the upside down ube cake, I think is what it was.
Ube upside down pie.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And first I was just, blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, this is food that I grew up with, but it's like got this really cool twist to it. And who is this person? So at the time I was also working with a small business development program. So what I was doing there was providing aspiring entrepreneurs with the tools to create their business plan and figure out their ideas, and also link them to different resources to start their business. But what we were really missing was the real entrepreneurs, because here I was, I'd come from college, learning about business, but it's not the same as somebody who's actually gone through the ropes.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have known that before we opened up the business either.
Yeah, so it was really just my interest in the product, but also in this amazing entrepreneur who took the product from the farmer's market to opening a brick and mortar, and being able to tap into that wisdom and the knowledge to bring to the people I was working with. So Kristine, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us, I think, first off, you started the business in 2010, but tell us about your journey even before that. Why entrepreneurship?
Well, I think it started back in, I had a really good job. Leading up to this, I was a road manager / A&R for a music agency, which is basically my boss produced, my old boss produced bands for special events. So they did a lot of weddings, but they did a lot of high-profile weddings. So it was a fun gig. I got to travel, and then because I got to keep the miles, I got to go on my own dime. Go on my traveler miles to go personal travel. So that was fun. But when 2008 happened, it was a little scary for my boss, because he had 5 employees, and he also had a business he had to run. He had to make the executive decision to want to decide to not to let go someone. And even though we were pleading with him, we have such a tight ship right now. We were everyone was doing their job and everything was running so smoothly. But he had to make an executive decision, which I understand as a business owner is really hard, but you have to make the tough decisions. But then I realized, well, I don't think I want anyone to make that decision for me anymore. I think I want to be the decider of my own fate. And I've always wanted to open some kind of food-centric business, depending on what period it was in my life. It's like I wanted to open a bakery, I wanted to open a restaurant, I wanted to open a bar. But it was always something, it's like, one day I want to do this. And I kind of got tired of me saying that all the time. So that was kind of the catalyst that made me start looking into starting my own business. So I said, I'm going to take a year just to work on either my business plan for an hour a day or work on recipes, because I didn't even have a product at that time. I just knew I wanted to see if I can have a viable business by the end of the year.
Wow. So you always knew you wanted to do something in food.
I knew it was
but you didn't
food.
have a very clear idea yet.
Yeah, but I knew that it was around the time that Sprinkles came out. And when Sprinkles came out, she did such a great idea about taking one product and then just focusing on it and really making it the highlight. So I took that business model and thinking, like, what can I do to kind of highlight on something? And it just so happened within that year that I was making the journey, I guess, of trying to figure out if I was going to run a business or not. I made creme caramel, my aunt's, for my boyfriend's family. His mother is gluten-free. So the creme caramel is naturally gluten-free. And I'm saying creme caramel because that's what my aunt and uncle call it, but it's actually based on my family's leche flan. So it's a Filipino flan, but my aunt and uncle adapted it so it's more French body kind of texture. So like we say, it's a French body, but with a Filipino soul.
I wish you could taste it.
Yeah. Well, it's what makes it the Filipino side is the condensed milk, and that's what is gives it that really richness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the decadence. So I made it, and then they loved it, and I thought, well, this is basically a custard that, like ice cream. Ice cream is a custard too, so it can be different flavors. And I was doing research at the time, and no one was doing other flavors of a leche flan. Maybe like a couple restaurants were doing a flavor, but nothing that was centric, kind of like how ice cream is, where there's lots of flavors available at one time. So this was back in 2009. And then after deciding what my product was going to be and doing a little bit more research, we added the bread pudding. And then fast forward to December of 2010, we were selling our first dessert at the Artisanal LA Holiday Show. And it was their second show, so it was their first show was so successful. There were so many people coming in. And because I know Marisa Tomei is probably listening, but she was one of the first people to try ours too.
What?
But my mom came up and she's like, about to get an autograph. I'm all, no, Mom, don't get an autograph.
We love our family for being so supportive, right? Yeah.
But it was at that place that we really got a good showing, and people were very excited about it. So that was encouraging. So I'm like, okay, like, we could keep on going. We're gonna keep on going and see how long we can do it.
That's awesome. So at that time, you mentioned the business plan. We talk about this all the time.
Yes.
The business plan is so critical, but I think a lot of people nowadays think, okay, I know what I want to do. I can launch and so on. Right. But what is your take on the business plan? How did it help you actually execute?
Well, like you mentioned before, I do not have a culinary background, but I do love baking. But I knew that if I was ever going to do a business, I'm not going to just do the baking side of it. I'd like the strategic side of it too. My background, I graduated with a marketing degree in business administration. So it's on the business side. I understood what I needed to do to be able to promote the business, and I knew that what I needed to do to be able to grow the business and make strategic decisions to be able to achieve the next goal. Business plans, I guess, are still old school, but they're turned into different terms. I mean, they call them growth plans or pitch decks, because people working on a pitch deck, you're basically working on your business plan, because you have to have all of those elements to be able to condense it into a small, like consumable file. So you still, while you may not call it a business plan, it's still something that you have to pitch to people, because unless you have a copious amount of money, if you have a lot of capital, then and you're willing to give up all the capital to be able to run your business, then go ahead and do that.
So let's talk about that capital.
Right.
So you just inherited like millions of dollars to fund this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you got it started.
My family are the king, queen of the Philippines. I'm just kidding, but no, it's We started off with the SBA. I was kidding. So if I don't know if I said kidding really quick.
No, bootstrap expert right here.
Yeah, totally bootstrapped. With using our savings, our retirement plan. I mean, I took a hit on my taxes, but I knew that it was something, and I have to give a shout out to my old boss though, because he actually gave us a profit sharing plan that gave me a lot of the money that was able to build this business. I doubt he's watching, but if he is watching, Jim, he helped me build the cornerstone of the business.
That's awesome.
But that being said, I still needed a SBA loan, a micro loan. If you don't know what a micro loan, it's any loan that's up to $50,000. So and
there's so many resources, by the way, like just a quick plug, so
Yeah.
many resources in the community that you should plug into, like the
it's free.
Yes, it's
Free
all
access.
free, and you can actually get training on how to be an entrepreneur, and then also get access or be connected to some of these capital resources, including the SBA, which is kind of like the big kahuna of all business loans. But there's also the micro enterprise or micro loans from community organizations, which are called SBDCs, or Small Business Development Corporations.
Right. And there's so many here in LA. I think we're really fortunate to live in such a diverse, not only diverse audience, but diverse communities that have specialized, like the Asian Pacific Islanders have them, and then they also have Latina business. And so there's so many centric to your own community that you'll be able to find some kind of access to capital.
Right. So real quick too, I used to work for a women's business center, which is Asian Pacific Islander Small Business Program. So while we didn't have the capital directly, we were able to tap into these different resources.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, I mean, I guess to tie a ribbon around the business plan thing, if you do not know how to write a business plan, there's like those resources, you can find out how to make one. But if you don't have that roadmap of a business plan, you don't know if you've reached your goal, or at least hit the milestones.
Yes.
I mean, I have to be completely honest. I only look at my business plan when I'm looking for money, and if because that's when you're going to need it most. It's because when you're trying to ask people for money, or you're trying to prove what your sales are like or what your goals are like, because it may be amazing. You may have a really amazing business from the get-go, but eventually someone's going to make you sit down and have you write out a forecast, figure out how you're going to get there. It's like, okay, great, you're going to make X million dollars in 5 years, but how are you going to get to that point? What kind of I guess not background. What's the word I'm thinking of? But basically, what kind of steps are you going to take to get to that point? And which is essentially everything that you need from a business plan. It's the less sexiest part of owning a business, but it's the part that if you have in your back pocket, you'll be so much more prepared, and very impressive to other people who want to invest in you.
So speaking of which, well, not the investment side, but knowing, like, I guess in terms of launching and also in terms of the next milestone. So you've navigated this path, right? Like you've made different stops here and there, but your business plan has kept you focused on the end goal.
Right. I mean, no one could prepare you for, and then Sean's kind of like sitting back there like, the joke that I have with Sean is the co-owner of the business too. So he's, I didn't do this by myself. It's like, Sean and I together have built this business, but the joke between the both of us is like, I didn't go into this business wanting to make millions of dollars. And Sean's like, what?
Why not?
Why not? Why don't you want to make? But it's what people fail to tell you, or if they do tell you, you don't realize the scope of how hard the work is. And there's a lot of sacrifices you make. I mean, I love my friends and family. My friends and family are amazing, but I don't think I've gone to a baby's or a kid's birthday party in like 3 or 4 years, except for my own nephews. I think I actually missed my nephew's birthday last year, which is terrible. But it's those kind of sacrifices that I have to make now in order to put that work in for later. I know I'm going to be able to benefit later, but it's 7 days a week for me and Sean. It's not like it's we get to take some time off. It's like, no, we're working 7 days a week. When I'm waking up in the morning, the first thing I look is my email to see if there's anyone that I have to get back to by the time I go to sleep. It's all consuming, but it's mine. It's something that we've built, and I can see in the future as being, and now as being, as paying off already.
I think we talked about motivation a little bit, right? That goes right into it. Like, what is the motivation for not only, staying on track or staying focused, but the motivation to stay in the business.
Yeah, well, and we talked about how, for me, it's the hustle of wanting to keep on doing it. It's if I were to go to just forget, I'm just gonna leave my shop right now, and you guys take care of it. Not only am I responsible for making sure the business runs because of my employees, but the brand that I put those blood, sweat, and tears for, that we've built to try to establish this business, it would be terrible for me to walk away from that and people just be disappointed. And not because they want our dessert, but it's just kind of like, there's, you know, by us contributing to your business, you are basically saying, yes, come in and buy my stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're closed, it's kind of like you're telling people, yeah, it's, you know what, we're only opening out on my time.
Yes.
So it's unfair.
I've seen businesses like that, and
Yeah.
it's really, really disappointing.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, it's unfortunate, but
It is.
I think for folks who are thinking about making that switch from corporate or from a job
Right.
to entrepreneurship, something I often like to say is it's not as if you're not working as hard.
Right. No, you're working more. I mean, you're not just getting the hat that you have when you work at your own job. You're also the janitor. You are the person that is doing construction. You're doing everything that is responsible for making this business run. But also talking about, you know, wanting to make decisions. People can have what's considered a lifestyle business. It's what basically you are running the business just to basically live the lifestyle that you want. And that's fine. That's completely fine. But there's this other side of the business where you can be more lucrative, where you can make lots of money. I'm not saying that, you know, we're all money hungry, but I'm not doing this out of the kindness of my heart. I want to be able, at the end of the day, feel like we're reaching towards this goal. We have an X amount percentage increase from last year. You know, we're able to decrease our costs. I mean, every time we're able to do something like that, it's like, yes!
Yes,
it's kind of
it's a big milestone.
But it's, in the moment, it's hard to think of that. But then when you actually can lay it down and look at your profit and loss statements and see how you're doing month to month comparison, it's like, it's kind of amazing. So that's weird. I mean, we're gonna have our 3rd anniversary, and people are asking, it's like, aren't you gonna have a party? I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess we should have I guess have your party for 3rd anniversary.
But you've been doing a lot of collaborations, a lot of parties per se. I think you've done such an excellent job of getting yourself and getting Creme Caramel out there through like the food truck collaborations that you do. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh yeah. So and that's a marketing thing for us, because we needed a reason for people to come to our store. We were on a strip of mall that the store next to us was closed on Fridays because they practice kosher, and there's a pizza place that's down at the end of the street, but there's nothing really food. On a Friday night, you want to go out and get food. And so I thought about contacting a whole bunch of food trucks and say, hey, we have a spot, because most of the food trucks, the biggest part that they battle is trying to find a location and actually have people come out and get to them. So the way I pitched it was, come out to our food truck, our spot. You could park right in front of our store. We'll put it out to our neighbors, which is a well-connected community in Sherman Oaks where they all talk to each other, that we have this food truck here. And it's basically, we don't charge anything. We just don't want you to charge any desserts or drinks, and just let us have an opportunity to be able to provide the dessert while you provide the dinner. And that's actually ended up how it worked out. It just worked out because the restaurant next door was closed. If it was open, we wouldn't have been able to do it. But it was an opportunity for us to be able to stay open later, and also be able to bring our customers and our neighbors to our spot on a Friday night. It's kind of like a Friday night ritual.
So smart. It's so smart.
It's all about the hustle.
Yeah.
It's really because how can I make money?
Yeah. But here's the
at
problem.
the end of the day. Yeah, no, at the end of the day, it's like, how can we bring more money into the store?
So what's been the biggest challenge for you in either launching a new idea or a new product, or even launching the business?
I think when we opened up the store, and Sean when we first were looking for a place, we had been looking for 8 months, and we were at the moment that we were looking for a place, we were at 15 farmers markets, but we were renting time out of a kitchen. So we were just looking for a kitchen just to support the farmers markets, because it was just getting too expensive to rent by the hour. So we, at the same time, were like, you know what, let's look for our own kitchen, and then we'll see what's out there. Everything we had to either build out, or it was very expensive. Nothing in the areas that we wanted to look for, but we ended up broadening our scope to include the valley, and that's when we found this little shop that had been there since the 1940s. It's kind of crazy because we are the third tenants of that building, and it had been there since the 1940s.
Wow.
So 2 people before us had been there for 30 plus years.
That's a good way to gauge how stable that location is.
It is,
right?
But it was a changing neighborhood too. And but the thing is that we had, except for Northridge Farmers Market, that was our only, I guess, way for us to be able to grab from that customer base. But even still, us walking into that store, we didn't have the same kind of followers that we did in Silver Lake and Echo Park and Atwater, which is where we were having most of our farmers markets.
Sure.
So the biggest challenge for us is basically starting the business all over again. We were at the half year mark. I mean, not half year. So we were in the business for 2.5 years, and then starting a business kind of all over again and trying to draw people in. It was a little hard, and that's part of the reason why we started actively and very aggressively looking for wholesale revenue streams. So
let's talk a little bit more about that.
Sure, yeah.
Some of the actions that actually led you to really multiplying yourself.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. And it's kind of the same thing that our farmers markets did for us, is that allows us to put our product in a neighborhood without having any overhead. And while there's a little bit of cost involved because we're not going to pay or charge our full retail price, because we're scaling larger and wider net, it gives us an opportunity to be able to test how neighborhoods like our product and still be able to consistently bring our brand into that neighborhood.
So it's product testing,
It is product
minimizing
testing,
your costs,
target marketing,
and then also
exactly.
finding partners that likely have the audience that you want.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Which is, if you're watching Annie, Found Coffee.
We'll talk a little bit more about that, like the future for Creme Caramel and other partnerships. Can we also talk a little bit about your the resources that you've used or leveraged in these last few years?
Sure. The way that we've, I think, and I'm not speaking for ourselves, but from talking to a lot of other people, most businesses are undercapitalized, and it's just, it would have been amazing if we had $100,000 in the bank, and we could just draw from that while we were building the business. But I just talked to you, like we're actually breaking even as of last year. So it's, but the thing is, while we're breaking even, we had to give up some of our equity, our built-in equity, and pay off our loans. So we had loans we had to pay off. We had credit cards we have to pay off that we still have to pay off, but we're getting rid of 2 loans at the end of this year. Yeah. We're getting rid of a machine lease at the end of the year too. So it's kind of like, oh, all this money's free up. So it's kind of awesome. So I know, but at the same time, it's like, we're ready to spend it. So it's kind of like, it's going to be allocated to other things. Yeah. But we are, 3 years in and able to say, like, we're breaking even as of last year. Yeah. We are going to be paying off all our bills in like the next 2 years. We're building this business, and it's growing. I mean, we had a 40% increase year upon year for the past 2 years. This year, it's slowed down a little bit, but towards the end of the year, and we'll talk a little bit about more about it, that's where the increase is going to be coming from the new location.
Yeah, so those resources like capital, really big, right? But you were also part of this really awesome program called 10,000 Small Businesses
that's right.
with Goldman Sachs.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses, it's a free program, but you have to apply.
And you have to have like
you have to have at least 2 years of business.
Success.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of success actually.
And I was a little intimidated by the interview, because at the end of the interview, like you stand in front of, or you sit in front of 2 people who are asking you hard questions about your business. It's like, well, I see your forecast. How are you exactly going to get there? It's like, oh, I see you have a lot of debt in the business. So what are you guys doing about that? So they ask questions like, how are you paying yourself? It's like, well, I'm not paying myself. And it's like, how are you getting support? They're asking hard questions that in the back of your mind, you have to address, but actually saying it out loud makes you feel a little bit more confident. It's like, I got solutions to this. It's hard now, but I know what's going to happen at the end.
So it's like a big reality check, but also, okay, let's strategize on next steps.
Right.
Yeah.
And if instead of paying for a full-on MBA, if you have a business already and there's 2 years of business, you can get basically the resources, not only the resources, but the networking capability of accessing other people who've graduated from the 10,000 Small Businesses program. And it's, if you don't know anything about financial statements or any legal questions that you have, they actually fly some of their New York lawyers to your location to answer questions during their legal clinic. So there's so many things that they've done for us.
It's an awesome program.
And yeah, we got along really well. And if anything, it was just an opportunity for us to be able to work on our business versus in it, which is a big problem that everyone has. Everyone doesn't get so immersed about working in their business, they forget that they have to make decisions to help the business beyond that.
Right. Yeah, you get caught in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
Right. And it's hard not to. So that allowed you to kind of have a retreat.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a small business retreat.
Right.
Cool. And then along with that, you were also, like I mentioned earlier, you were on the Spring Baking Championship show. How did you get that gig? Like, how were you able to land that?
They called our store and they asked if we were interested in auditioning for Spring Baking Championship. They saw our Yelp reviews and saw our product. So I sent them, they asked me to send some information, then they asked me to do a video, they asked me to do another video, then they had me meet with producers. But I think what, at the end of the day, what really sold them was I told them, I just want to go on the show and make Filipino ingredients, or sorry, excuse me, use Filipino ingredients or make Filipino dishes. And they were like, "Oh, that's smart." So she's like, "That's a good idea." I'm like, "Okay, good." It's like, "'Cause that's what I'm doing."
Yeah, it's different, right?
Well, it is totally different. And and I remember because you get to see the kitchen just to see how it looks, and when you're there, like in between takes, you get to see the stuff, and you're like, "Oh crap, they really did get like a lot of stuff that's Filipino centric." I said, "It would be nice if you guys could get that." And so yeah, they were. They
catered to you.
They did. Well, they asked was like, is there anything besides normal traditional things that you would need?
Fresh coconuts.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I didn't. I only made it to the second show, but I'm not even bitter about it because in my head I'm like, I just needed to the second show.
That's awesome.
Well, the funny thing is that first day we were shooting, my second nephew was born, and I was like, I want to be off the show. I just want to see my nephew. And I remember coming to my sister's hospital room, all TV makeup, and my sister's like, what's going on there? But
gosh, that is hilarious.
But it was a fun experience, and I have to completely admit, everyone on the show was so talented and so experienced culinary wise. But I'm all, if it was a business show, I would have killed. But I got.
Let me see your business plan.
Yeah, exactly. But it went over really well.
Yeah.
So
this says so much about you to be able to compete with these, I guess technically trained, right, bakers.
Well, I think they cut off a lot of the stuff I was saying because I was like, curse. I'm like, wait, I can curse, right?
Yeah, we can.
I was like,
our show. We do and say what we want.
I'm like, fuck this shit. Walking around, damn. And I was like, I would be cussing every other. I'm like, damn it. And so I think they were just like, oh man, we can't use any of this stuff.
We do not say that on Le Cordon Bleu or whatever it's called.
But I was making the cameraman laugh, so I think there was joy in that.
I'm looking at this cute little figure right now, and it's totally like making me think of your energy.
Yeah.
And
well, our logo and our character is designed by Jim Mateo Designs, and he's amazing. He's a fantastic graphic designer. He came up. I told him I was looking for a 1940s Art Deco kind of style, the way that they used to have their menus back in the 1940s, and he came up with this logo. Is exactly what we needed. Yeah. And then this, I'm Not a Cupcake, actually came about because we were talking about. He's all, what if you had a character logo? I'm like, I'm not really sure. He's all, but he's all, what if it's like one of those concession stand animated things where the people are marching across the screen. I'm like, okay, if you could put I'm Not a Cupcake, because at the time that we started the business,
that was the big
cupcakes were basically jumping the shark.
Yeah.
So it was a whole bunch of cupcake shops opening. Yeah. Nothing against that, but it's just we knew we didn't want to be part of that.
Right.
Because we knew there was going to be a life expectancy.
So you're setting yourself apart from
exactly
what was happening, which is awesome. But this guy right here just has this kind of like attitude of, I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to say what I want.
A little bit.
I love him.
Oh, thanks. thanks. We had tattoos of them too, and I just haven't reordered, but I think I have to do that again.
Who wants tattoos?
I mean, like not real ones, but I'll do it if you want.
Okay, so I think recently we were also talking about how you manage this crazy schedule. First of all, what is your bedtime?
Oh, if we are in bed by 7:30, I mean, maybe like asleep by 8. Yeah.
What time do you get up every morning?
Sean gets up at 2:30, and I get up at 2:45.
Wow, you guys.
And that we know that's not going to happen for us. The goal is for us. Not sorry, there's a fly.
It's hot in here.
Yeah,
It's just we're attracting the flies.
And we know that this is just going to be our role for now until we can get people in.
It's
and
the
that's gonna
grind
happen.
right now.
Yeah, it's the grind right now. It's going to happen when we open up the store. And so again, it's talking about like goals and what things you need to prepare for. Hire someone, but how are you going to pay them if you don't have any sales? It's like how much do you know they're going to pay? Plus, you have to pay their taxes. You have to pay their workers' comp. So it's all of those little elements that when people are like, oh, I'm just going to hire someone, it's like you have to actually put that down on paper. What do you have to make to be able to get that goal? If you want a store, how are you going to earn that money? If you have investors, how are you going to make that return on investment? How are you going to feel confident telling someone a year later is like, I haven't been able to pay you back because I can't pay you back.
Right.
But if you know that ahead of time, it's like, I'm not going to be able to pay you back for 2 years, but then in the third year, you're going to get like a shit ton of money. You know, so it's you have to know your numbers. You have to know where your business is going to go. You have to know, and I don't say this to try to intimidate people, but it's.
I am.
Like, but you know, for me, it's you can do take every advantage that you can. Like if someone is willing to help you out and invest in you, it's like take that seriously. And then if someone's going to make sure that you want to help you, like, you know, human resources wise, and like be able to take as many. I mean, I used up all my volunteer credits with my friends and family at the very beginning. I mean, we were at the farmers markets and asking people, hey, can you guys come over and help at the farmers market? So try to use, I mean, my friend Jem, he did these logos for free for us at the very beginning. I mean, we're paying him for the second one, but for, you know, it's using all the resources that you can as much as you can, but knowing also that at the end you're going to pay them back in some way.
Right. And you had that goal of becoming profitable so that you can repay them or pay them, right? So because you're so busy and you're managing all these different priorities, what are some of the tools or apps that you use to help you manage your day?
I use 3. I use Workflowy, which is amazing. It's a free app, and I don't know, I haven't reached the limit yet, but I have a lot of line items. If you haven't seen it yet, go on it on the website. It's Workflowy, WORKFLOWY.com, and it's basically a list manager, and it does it in I forgot what that basically when you have a header and then the next subheader, that's how it
so you
lists
can categorize
everything. Right, so you categorize like what your priorities are, and it's just a blank page, so you could do it however you want. For me, it's like jotting down notes, and if there's anything I have to tell someone, I put it as a subheader, but it's free and I love it, and it syncs to your phone and your desktop, so anytime you're putting information on your computer, it'll sync automatically to your phone, and that's a free app.
Workflowy.
Yes, and we also use Basecamp. Basecamp is a project management app that, again, is web-based, but you could access it on your phone, download the app to access your phone, or actually send you an email, and you can respond or converse on email, and it gets populated onto the Basecamp website. But it's perfect for, I think it was meant for tech companies, but for us, it works out perfectly because instead of having a ledger or a book where people are writing down notes and people have to, like, you have to read it, or what if you're looking for a note that was 4 pages back and you have to go through every page? It's searchable, so anytime that there's any notes you want to give to your staff, they can always look up, for example, quiches. This is how the quiches are prepared. This is like, or a customer's name, making sure their order was put through. So it's like
a database that also allows you to have best practices, especially since you probably, in that business, you probably have not a higher turnover, but just naturally, I mean, people
there's
are
a lot more information.
Right, a lot more information, a lot more kind of disjointed. Right, information or disjointed.
Right, and
teams.
I mean, that doesn't remove us from doing a handbook, but this is like little details that like, how do you prepare cold brew? How do you prepare espresso? So it's in one manual that can be searchable as opposed to a binder where there's a lot of information.
It sounds like a wiki for your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
And we pay $29.99, I think, or $20 a month. It gives us access to 5 projects, but the way that we have it broken down is like messages for Kristine, front of house notes, orders, something that we can, it's already compartmentalized, and you could upload attachments to it, and so it's great. It's awesome.
So Basecamp, if you're listening or watching, you're going to need to sponsor Creme Caramel and Foundher.
Yeah, that's right. At least $20 a month, that built up.
Any other tools that you really like?
The last one, well, I guess it's like Instagram. We use Instagram a lot for our social media. So PhotoGrid is one of those free apps that we use that we can build, like if someone mentions us, like if we're able to, like, I think press works as long as you react really quickly.
Yes, especially
nowadays. If anyone, if you don't, this is kind of a side note to that, but if you don't have a Google alert on your business, you need to put that in right now.
That's so smart.
And if you don't have Google alert for yourself, you're like, say if your brand is yourself, or because if anyone says anything about you or your business, you have to be able to respond to that person really quick. And it's, the Google alerts are the best way to do it. So we have Google alerts on Creme Caramel LA, on Creme Caramel and bread pudding, just to see what anyone else is doing out there. So taking that, like for example, Eater LA put us on, they notified us about our second, or they did
this is a good time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they posted about our new location in Silver Lake.
Yeah.
So I was able to just do screen captures and basically jerry rig a social media image so that I can put it out. And PhotoGrid allows me to do that. So it's super easy and it's free.
Okay, those are awesome resources.
Yeah.
Workflowy, Basecamp, and PhotoGrid. And those are all, well, with the exception of Basecamp, they're free.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Very
Workflow
cool.
is free too, up to a certain limit, but I haven't hit that limit yet.
You're
so
just
I'm just gonna keep on
write
writing
it.
until they tell me you can't write anymore. We're holding on to your information and be like, oh no.
Yeah, no, why not?
I'm going to.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this new project
Yeah.
/ collaboration / next steps for Creme Caramel.
Yeah. So we are opening up our second location, but it's a collaboration with Found Coffee. So we met Annie, who is our wholesale customer. So she opened her business about a year ago.
She's going to be on the show too.
Oh, yay, awesome. Yeah, so she's going to be on the, she was our wholesale customer as of last year. It's about a year in business. And she was approached by one of her customers who owns a building in Silver Lake and asking if she was interested in opening up a second location. And then she said, yes, of course. And she's all, I don't want to do this by myself. I was like, I'm going to ask Kristine if she wants to do it with me. But she would have opened it by herself, but for her to actually invite us was very generous and kind. She could have just opened up a second location and done gangbusters. But she wanted to include us. I'm like, that would be awesome. It's like, we should just do it in a different brand because it's 2 different brands anyway. So we came up with Frankie Lucy Bake Shop because Frankie's her dog and Lucy's mine. Although my mom actually takes care of my dog, so I don't actually see my dog.
She's
as
still
often.
your dog.
She's still my dog. She still thinks she still thinks she's mine.
Well, and what's special about this is you're combining really 2 key products. Right. So you have
her specialty, right? Yeah, her specialty in coffee. In addition to her, because she's from a Demi-Tasse legacy, so she trained through Demi-Tasse, another coffee roaster in LA, and she she knows coffee. She coffee hands down. And we're bringing in our custard and confections. It's going to be a little bit truncated, more focused menu of the custards and confections, but a lot of the favorites, but then we're going to have some few newer things too that we're going to be highlighting.
And this neighborhood is so hip. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's just a really cool neighborhood where you'll get exposed to a lot of different businesses, but I think the clientele would just love both of those products.
I hope so. Right? And we also have the same philosophy about how we handle customer service, because I think if there's one thing that I'm more than, if there's an emphasis besides product that I have on, it's a customer service. Because what I tell our staff all the time is like, people are going to come in for our food first because they either heard of us or a referral. So once they have our food, it's really up to you to provide that connection to make them come back.
Right.
And our customer service hands down. I mean, we'll even get like on Yelp, you'll have like, we'll get a 1-star or 2-star reviews. It's like they weren't happy with the food. It's like, but we love those people. It's like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? At the end of the day, if you like one of them, I'm happy. But I'm happy that people who do like the food, like the customer service too. And for us, it's a matter of like, you have to be able to touch people and not just one way, and not touch them physically, although I do. And then I am like, I'm creepy, like I'm like, let me shake your hand, and people are like, and it's a weird, time in our lives where people don't want to shake hands because people don't want to get sick. But Mom, you don't have to shake hands with everyone, but I shake hands with all the customers because like I want them to have that tactile touch because that's another memory kind of tag in their brain.
That's
and
true.
if they try our food, that's a second memory tag in their brain.
Yeah.
If I use their name, that's a third memory tag in their brain. So every single moment that you have with that customer, that you can do things to make that situation pleasant, they're going to leave feeling good about it.
I love that.
Because, we're in a world of Starbucks where I don't even know the person's face once I walk out that door.
Right. It's the same apron, same uniform.
Yeah, and there's nothing that differentiates. They may very well have been pleasant, but there's nothing to make me, but Starbucks doesn't have to do that. They already have the brand name and people know that's where they're going to go to get their coffee fix. But if people want actual connections, that's why they'll come to our stores.
Well, actually, last week we talked to a service design thinker specialist, Marina Tartarian, who's awesome. You should check out episode 2. And she talks about basically understanding your customer through empathy. Right. And knowing the customer needs, not just that superficial level. Like, okay, I'm serving this need of you want a great dessert, here it is, but there's more than that.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Because at the end of the day, we're just selling desserts. It's like, anyone else can go to anywhere. They could go to the frozen yogurt shop down the street, or they could buy dessert store-bought.
Yep.
But what's going to differentiate themselves is that, I know Kristine, I know Michelle, I know the people that are in front of me, and I like this relationship that I'm building. I'm not saying that we're trying to be best friends with everyone, but all our regulars have been so nice and kind. And if there's one thing, we're lucky to have really amazing staff. Our staff is, I am so lucky that I was blessed with these people because they're all amazing. But it's one of those things that because they've been there for so long, people ask about this, like, I haven't seen Kristine in a while. It's like, she works and whatever. So they're not only just enjoying the relationship that is with the people that are there, but they're asking about them after their experience has ended. So it's nice. It's like we're really lucky to have the people we have.
Well, and I think you attract that, by not just the product that you put out, but also that's just, I hate to be so woo-woo, but law of attraction, right? Like, that's the energy that you put out there, and that's what you're going to get back.
I hope so. And I think we just had reviews recently. I'm all, so what are you guys feeling? I know you don't necessarily want to tell your boss like all the gripes and stuff, but I feel like it's genuine. They said, like, I really like working here. So I'm like, that's thanks, guys.
So that makes it worth it.
I'm like, and I have to be completely honest, they're not getting a ton of money. So it's like they, and I tell them, like, stick with me, and you're going to keep on, reaping what we benefits. Like, we're breaking even, but we're getting to the point that we're actually going to start doing some profit sharing eventually. And, so that's my goal, is to be able to, because they're helping us build this business. It's like, of course I want to be able to share that with you.
Well, and I think they have the opportunity to gain like that leadership development in that kind of environment, right? And get to know this industry as well. So there's a lot of other benefits that may not be monetary.
Right, exactly. Right.
So we talked about you being top of mind for your customers. We talked about brand building, this stuff, and then your employee development or your employee relationships.
Right.
And then we talked about next steps. So what other, I want to get kind of to the nitty gritty of what advice you would give to an aspiring entrepreneur, maybe looking to start a food business or a lifestyle business even?
Whatever business you decide to build, you have to do your research. You have to see what makes your product unique and or service unique. What makes it stand out in the crowd. Everyone in food, especially, you'll every once in a while run into someone who thinks their stuff is like amazing. She's like, hey, you know what? It actually is. It is fantastic.
Yeah.
But you have to know how you're going to get to the next point. It's how are you going to grab that customer to come in? People are not going to come in. There's a ton of good food out there. How are you going to compete with that? You can't say that you want to sell to everyone, because if you do, that's a wasted effort. It's waste of investment per customer to try to target everyone. But if you know specifically who you're going to be targeting, and you know which areas you want to target specifically, it's more use of your dollar. So do your research for sure. Do your research. I mean, we talk about business plan. Do your business plan. If you don't know how to make a business plan, at the very least, you can do an easy one where you just, what's your objectives? What's the company about? Where, what resources do you have? And resources, not just financial, but human resources. Yeah. Do you have someone that can guide you legally and through accounting? If you don't know anything about financial statements, take a class. Take a class or find someone. Yeah. Or if you want, I've told this to other people too. It's people's like, oh, I don't want to do the books or anything. It's like, well, then you have to find someone that's going to want to do it, because someone has to do it. Right. You can't just because you don't want to do it, you don't know how to do it. Right. So you have to do your research. You have to know what your business is going to be about, because who's going to be the biggest seller of your company? It's going to be you, ultimately. I mean, yeah, you train people to talk about it, but ultimately you're going to be the one who is the face of the company. Right. You're the one that the people are going to feel like, if I have a good relationship with this person, that must trickle down to everyone else.
I think that's something actually we didn't really touch on is sales.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Man, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, if you think about it, every single person that walks through that door is your life's blood. So I tell our customers, our staff does, every single person that walks through that door is your paycheck. Yeah. So if you have them coming back, that increases the opportunity for you to keep on having work. So we don't want just people coming one time. We want them to be multiple. We have over 65% of the people coming back. So they're return customers. So it's, and that's not even a full hard number. That's a number just based on our POS system if they use a credit card.
Oh, so you can capture that info.
You can capture that
That's
info,
pretty cool.
Yeah. Utilizing, knowing where your numbers are coming from. It's okay, how can I track the item sales? This is not selling very well, so don't waste your time making it. Make something else that sells more. What has better margin is, if you're gonna, and that's part of the focus about the first year when we first opened the store. But prior to that, we were just creme caramel, upside down pie, and bread pudding. That's all we did. But when we opened the store, we were that, plus let's do biscuits, let's do scones, let's do coffee. We were just kept on what's gonna make people come into the door? You want me to dance? I'll dance. So it really was trying to figure out how do we bring more people in. Yeah. And we had to test that market, because we didn't know what they wanted, because we knew what we were, and we knew that we could, if we were opening up the store in Silver Lake, at least we had that customer base. But starting all over, it would have been hard for us to be able to just be the creme caramel and custard just alone, especially in a neighborhood that wasn't well trafficked. Right. So we did everything we could, tested to see how well they did, and then kept the things that were working and took off the things that weren't. So and then seeing that the natural progression and the sales of the retail business is going to grow organically, we knew that we weren't going to reach our break even fast enough. So that's why we brought in the wholesale, because that had to be an additional revenue stream to be able to buffer that the growth of the retail business. Catering business is a small portion of our business, and if I were to be completely honest, it's part of the business that I wouldn't want to pursue too much, because it takes us out of the store and takes us out of the branding, because catering, there's not much you can do to show people that it's your stuff. Right, it's kind of people are just eating it. Right, it's kind of blank. Yeah. Right? But it is a good opportunity. It is a great opportunity for someone else, absolutely. Yeah. But where we want return customers again, so that what allows us to get the return customers is be able to get our brand out. Our brand out. So okay, how can customers find you, but also what are the different ways to work with you? Sure. We are, our website is Creme Caramel LA, so it's CREME, caramel, CARAMEL, and then LA.com. It looks like Creme Caramella.com, and for the longest time I thought your name was Caramella. I know, and you're not the first into that. Sean and I have this conversation all the time, and people, I'll put just Creme Caramel. I'm like, no, there's LA at the end, because technically my aunt and uncle are Creme Caramel, and the reason why we have the LA at the end is because we were in LA. Yeah. So, but you're not the first. I mean, you could change your name. I know we could. It's cute. Yeah. But all our social media information's on there. In addition to, if you want our location in Sherman Oaks, we're at 14849 Burbank Boulevard in Sherman Oaks. We're open 7 days a week for a lot of hours. So
and you do brunch, Sunday brunch.
we do. We are actually going to start our Sunday brunch again in July, mid-July. We're going to be at LA Food Fest, and that's going to be amazing in July 9th and 10th. So
what is the LA Food Fest?
It's hosted by Angelino, and they are, or Sauce LA, are the people who created Artisan LA, the LA Street Food Fair, but LA, it evolved into LA Food Fest, which is going to be amazing. What they've had years before was that they had the restaurants come in, give tastings for X amount of dollars, and you just basically ate the whole afternoon. But this year, they have that portion of where you get to taste everything, but then at the end, you actually, there's a separate ticket. It's like, I think it's $15 now. They sold out of the $10 ticket. You get to buy from all these restaurants where they make something specific, or it's a highlight of their company at the event itself. So we are highlighting 3 desserts. One is the ube Epsom pie, which we are already known for. That is one of the biggest sellers at our store. But the other 2 are going to be surprises that we're going to be announcing this week.
Oh,
so
I think I may have.
Yeah,
I may already know what it is. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's we're really excited.
It's very refreshing.
Yeah, refreshing, and there's a little bit of fun decadence.
Yes, yes. Cool. And then social media?
Social media, our Twitter and our Facebook is Creme Caramel LA, but then our Instagram is creme_caramel_LA, and Snapchat is Creme Caramel LA 2, not 2 as well. So it's, although we have 3 stories on Snapchat, so it's not like we're developing.
Yeah, no, Snapchat for me is probably one of the more challenging platforms.
Yeah, because it's one of the things that I don't want to videotape myself telling people stuff. So most of the time I look crazy. So
crazy.
But I see like how some brands use it, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of fun. But
it also takes a lot of effort.
It does.
Right? Yeah.
I do the lazy way of posting social media. Everything on Instagram is my primary, and then it gets filtered onto Facebook and Twitter. And then I'm okay not doing unique content for every single one, because it's basically getting to different audiences, so I'm fine with that. But with Snapchat, I can't necessarily do that, so it's kind of like I have to have a unique take, and some days I don't want to be witty. I don't want to take the time to try to figure out what's funny.
Off a little bit.
So, but I think the Snapchat's fun for our events, or if we do something special.
Yeah, that's a good one. So the LA Food Fest one would be good.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you have any of your employees actually doing your social media for you?
I had one,
Angela,
who's she just graduated from USC. She was awesome, but it's eventually that's going to be taken over by someone, which it should be. Yeah. But I think the concern was always the voice of the social media.
That's tough.
You have to make sure that the person is like saying the things that you would say, not in like the exact way, but something that's fun. Yeah. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but at the same time, it still has to stay on message.
So how have you done that? Like even just the bit that she does, how have you transferred that voice to her?
I think it's the things that she says. Just in general in life, I'm like, that's funny. So I think that's
on social media.
Yeah. So I'm like, I think I trust you. I think go ahead and do it. She's pretty witty. So yes, when she was doing it, but now it's back to me doing it. But it's getting that content ahead of time. And someone, I think it's after we had a conversation with someone else, like just take 15 pictures every day, and then you just have all your content. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Let's do that. Yeah, but it's like Douglas Welch. If you're watching, I just realized you told me that too. So he's one of our neighbors. So he told us, he's like, just take 15 pictures.
But it's the posting part. Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I'm struggling with this on.
I mean, how often are you picking up your phone? You're always picking up your phone every time. So if you have an opportunity to pick up your phone, you can post.
I don't need this right now.
Yeah, no, and it's I'm telling myself that thing too, because like to be relevant, you have to keep posting. Yes. You don't have to keep posting every day, but just like something. And I hate that part. But it's something that's necessary for this. To be honest, I wouldn't be on Facebook or Twitter, any of those things, if it wasn't for the business. It's really just solely just to try to,
yeah.
although, you know, I've been posting a lot on Facebook lately. That
Well, I think
Brexit,
it's-
man.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
Well, you
Yeah.
know, really quickly, I think we have time to talk about this changing economy.
Yes.
You know, speaking of Brexit
Yeah.
and the EU, okay,
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about, I want to talk more about the entrepreneurial economy. And we were talking about this
Right.
briefly before the show started, that it's a new economy where you
Right.
really have to watch out for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
and you have to have a side hustle, two
Yeah.
side hustles, even three.
Right.
Because companies are not taking care of you.
Right.
And it's just the reality,
Right.
right? And we're a global economy now where we're
Right.
competing with each other. So, so many people are already in the entrepreneurial mindset.
Right. Even though they don't know it.
Right.
Which is funny, if you think about it 10 years ago, no one would even think about a side hustle. They're like, I have my job. I
Yeah.
was like, I'll just do my job. I want to go home and not think about anything else.
Yep.
But everyone's thinking, well, if there is, if there's one thing I can describe millennials of ganas, it's the desire. I think it's from, what's the movie? It's the one with Edward James Olmos. He's all, you have to ganas. He's a teacher for some school.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
I forgot. Anyway,
Yeah,
but
I
anyway,
can't remember it
you know what I'm
either,
talking
but
about?
Yes,
He,
the math teacher.
yes.
Right. Okay. In LA, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's all, they have the desire to
Yeah.
be able to get things paid and be able to have a life. But at the same time, I think there's also a lot more fluidity where it feels like they they feel okay not doing what they're doing and be able to pursue something else if they can.
Do you think that people have to be entrepreneurial now? Like, there's no choice, or do you think that it's still an option?
I think unless you are in a position that is, I guess, considered more professional, which is the lawyer, the medical profession, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
I think it's just the cost of living here in Los Angeles. It's just nuts. I mean, I know people who have their jobs and then they turn on Uber when they get into their car because that's their side hustle. But it's
Right.
also it's a little smart too because it's like, well, I'm going that direction anyway,
Yeah.
so I might as well just pick someone up so I can buy him. I'll earn some money.
Yeah.
But I think. I don't know if this generation is a little bit more open to it as each generation since our parents' generation. And I'm associating myself with Generation X, so just so you know. And I think it's more difficult for every generation after us because they didn't see the security that we did as kids.
Right.
Most of us
Right.
felt as kids and
Right.
stuff. So it's going to be a different way of living. I think people are going to be a little bit more nomadic and not feeling like they have to have a house.
Yeah.
You know, like people are going
That's
to feel
true.
like they can move different places to try to see if they can get jobs and stuff.
Or run their business
Or run-
elsewhere,
right,
right? Be
exactly.
location independent, which is my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, to be honest, I won't be able to do that anyway because, like, I love my nephew so much. I want to see them grow up.
Yeah, no, I mean, there are definitely things that still anchor us
Yeah.
to certain locations. So I think we have time for a couple of Foundher fun facts.
Is anyone watching still?
Yeah, do we have questions? Are you guys posting questions or not? This is being captured not only on live stream, but it'll be uploaded on YouTube. And my anger right now, you can
It's like,
feel
Mom,
it on the
Mom,
other
I know
side.
you're watching. I'm just kidding. She doesn't know how to use it.
Okay,
Yeah. Oh, like to eat?
favorite
Or
dish
just to make?
Ooh.
Oh
Favorite dessert to make?
man. I think my favorite dessert to make, only because it's super easy, is fudge. Fudge is so easy to make. So it's like one of the
No
things if
idea.
you want to. You just need condensed milk, chocolate chips, and I mean this is like the fake fudge too. It's
I like how
you
this
could
is
do
a
that-
secret.
Yeah, no, it's like you could totally. But I haven't made it in like years because it's something you could do in the microwave really quick
Huh.
and stuff.
No
But
idea.
no, I mean I don't know. I'm a little embarrassed because I have such a weird palate. Like I like oatmeal with Parmesan cheese. It's like that is like what I'll eat. Everyone's like,
Whoa.
So I'll eat brown sugar, oatmeal, and Parmesan cheese because that's my sweet and savory. It's like, oh my god.
That actually does sound
Yeah.
nice.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
with
why I
the
talk
brown
about
sugar.
oatmeal a lot because I like oatmeal. And like,
With the
I don't
Parmesan
know if anyone
cheese.
else likes oatmeal. But I have like a weird palate where so before Sean and I lived together, I was eating green peas, feta, and pepperoncinis. That was like my dinner.
Whoa. Like Greek something. I'm not
So
sure.
it's like, I don't know, I shouldn't be saying this because I'm selling my food to them all.
She has a good palate, you guys. Very discerning
But I
palate.
eat weird things. I eat weird things all the time, I think.
Okay, 2 more quick questions.
Yeah.
Your pet peeve.
In general, with
Yes,
life?
your biggest pet peeve.
I also like rude people.
Rude
Like
people, yeah.
Like mean people. I don't even not even rude people. I think I just don't like mean people.
Like mean-hearted. And,
Yeah, like I mean, people who laugh at other people's expense.
Yeah.
Or say things just to tear someone down. I'm lucky that in my time of life there isn't people who are like that. I mean, in this season of my life, I don't have friends like that. But you know,
they can drain
up,
your energy.
Yeah,
Right?
like it's the toxicity of people's negative energy.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's
Yeah,
one thing too.
negative
You know,
energy.
I know some people can't get out of their negative funk, which I understand. It's hard, but
But take that shit elsewhere.
well, it's kind of like, you know, not like I don't want your emotions to be to not be real, the real you, just to make me feel better. But it's the people who do that, but don't try to help themselves to do it.
Right.
You know,
it's just they're stuck in that, and they want everyone to know that they're stuck in that.
Right.
And there's no resolution.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's no want to make it better. It's just kind of like, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And so it's a little selfish.
Oh God. Yeah. That
Right?
makes me drained just
I
hearing
know,
about
right?
it.
But then I like happy people. Happy are people who like to laugh and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. One last question. Spirit animal.
Yeah. Oh. Sean knows this. Mindy Kaling. She's kind of my spirit animal.
She's awesome.
Every time we watch it, he's all.
That's a good one. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up because that's all the time we have today. Just want to give our shout out again to Parts and Labor, Brian Alano, for this awesome studio and for the collaboration. Thank you to Kristine, to Sean, Creme Caramel, and to this guy. And also to Found Coffee, our mug here. And next time we're actually, like I think I mentioned this already, right? We're going to be in Palm Springs, so hopefully you'll join us next Saturday. Follow us on Foundher on Facebook, Foundher Biz on Instagram. That's Biz, B-I-Z. And please, you know, when you watch the videos, put your comments in there, post your questions, and let us know how else we can continue to improve so that we can do this better the next time. All right, thanks you guys. Have a great day.
Bye. Thanks.
That was